Hello everybody, here we are today talking about Sergei Bobrovsky and why winning the Stanley Cup would probably be a big deal for him. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So the Stanley Cup final is still going on at the moment, and the Panthers look set to win the series as they're up 3-0, and the Oilers are on the brink of elimination, which means Florida Panthers fans are probably thinking about the fact they are possibly hours away from seeing their team hoist Lord Stanley for the first time. And with that comes kind of the idea of the team winning a championship, and with the players winning a cup. And some of these players are especially important for fans thinking about their legacies. And one thing that sticks out here for me especially is Sergei Bobrovsky. Now, Bob has played nearly 15 years in the NHL, has 7 seasons with 30 wins or more, and has 2 Vezinas to his name. But there's one thing he doesn't have, and that's a Stanley Cup under his belt. Now, last year was his first season getting to play in the Stanley Cup final, which was in year 13. Kind of weird how that worked out as the team lost, and it was a really rough game in that Game 5 series eliminating situation for them, but it's the way it goes. What I think is really impressive here, though, for Bobrovsky and the team is a year later they were able to bounce back and make it to the Stanley Cup final. You will see a lot of players go on and never even get to the Stanley Cup final. They make it once. They might make it once early in their career and then have to sign on to a contending team as a fourth-line player, something like that. Heck, you could even be Corey Perry, and he seems to know a thing or two about going to the Stanley Cup final in recent years and being stuck on the losing side. No hate to Perry right now, but just something you can point out with this. But Bobrovsky is able to get there again and say, I've got my opportunity to go and try to win a championship. And with this, you see a team in Florida that is also trying to go out there and redeem themselves. But one thing that's weird when you're looking at all this is Bob's had a great career, so why is it important? I mean, he's got the money, he's got the stats, he's got the accolades. All of these things are really nice, but he doesn't have a cup. And that's important for a couple of reasons. The first one being it means everything to win the cup. We all are well aware of that. But the second thing that I think is equally important, or maybe not as important, still very important to Bobrovsky especially, is by winning a championship, you are probably setting yourself up to being a Hall of Fame lock. I don't really know why this seems to be so controversial online, as Bob is a 2-time Vezina winner and is somebody that has got 396 wins to his career already. He's under contract through next season. Let's say signs a 1-year extension to play 2 more years in total, so next year and the season after. If he gets 50 wins total in that time, it's going to be about that 450 win mark range. That would put him right around 8th all-time in wins, and he would have a career save percentage of .915. So looking at that, I'd want to know why somebody would argue about why he's not a Hall of Fame favorite, especially if he's able to win that championship, because at that point, you're looking at somebody that is top 10 in wins, that has got 2 awards for being the best goalie of the year in different seasons, and then is a Stanley Cup champion. And something else to throw out there as well too is the fact that for his career, he has a winning percentage in the playoffs. Now, I know people will look at the past 2 seasons and say, well, yeah, because he's going 27-10. Yes, but are you really going to discredit what has happened in the past 2 seasons, really the past 3 years, as he was able to help transform this Florida team? And I just don't really want to hear a whole lot of arguments because he's got a lot of things going his way for him. Am I going to go out there and say that this is the level like we saw with Ray Bourque going to the Stanley Cup final and winning it? Absolutely not. But this is a big deal for Bob because he's been around for a bit and would be able to get that first championship and has had great storylines in his career. He was able to go to Columbus and help them become a relatively consistent playoff team. Maybe they weren't going to be a star-studded group, but they had some really, really great seasons, and he was able to help them go on to win their first postseason series ever against the Tampa Bay Lightning, which was incredible, before going on to Florida. And yes, things started off poorly, but look at the last 3 years as the team's been able to go out and win the President's Trophy and be a 2-time Stanley Cup finalist, winning the East back-to-back seasons. On top of that, too, Sergei Bobrovsky is a Vezina finalist for the year, had an incredible season. So you're looking at all these storylines and saying, a lot of these things set up the narrative for a great story, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? A storyline that is great for a player that has had a long career that's been very, very successful. And the story could get even better, as last year in the final game for the Florida Panthers, they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they allowed 8 goals in that game. Bobrovsky was in net for all 8 goals. There were non-empty netters because I think they did get another one. But how amazing would it be to see a goalie that nearly gave up 10 goals in a championship game bounce back as a veteran goalie a year later and help his team be able to go on and win the Stanley Cup for the first time? That is the stuff you would write in a movie. Not only that, but he's played really well in the Stanley Cup final as he has a .953 save percentage. Game 1, the Oilers probably had a great chance to win that game. Game 2, He didn't allow, he allowed 1 goal, I believe. And then in Game 3, the Oilers had nearly double the offensive zone time that the Panthers had. So you have 2 out of 3 games where he was able to go out there and have a shutout. And you had the 3rd game where he was able to stay and put on a lot of pressure to the Oilers that were down 4-1 in that game. And then you remember the fact that he's allowed 4 goals in 3 games in the Stanley Cup final against a team that has a lot of great players. Now, is it all just him? No. But this is incredible. And winning the Stanley Cup means everything because your name is attached to that and you are going to be remembered forever. Yeah, there's some great goalies that have had great careers that will be remembered probably for as long as we play hockey. But by having your name on Lord Stanley, that is just there forever. And you can say that you were a Stanley Cup champion. And we know legacies are defined by championships and the players' odds of being known are going to be boosted. But watch out for the guy that's been around for nearly 15 years in the NHL, as he's had the league in awe for over a decade and is right now in a spot where not only could he win the Stanley Cup for the first time and hoist it in front of everybody, but also see himself become a lock for the Hall of Fame if you already feel like he wasn't already. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Sergei Bobrovsky winning the Stanley Cup? Do you feel like he should be a Hall of Fame goalie, whether or not he wins a championship? If he does, of course, I feel like it's got to be a lock. And if not, tell me why you don't think that. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, do you think that the Panthers are going to win tonight and win that first championship? Let me know your thoughts down below. Also, please make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go off hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.